Dr. Sarah Chen stood at the observatory's main console, her eyes fixed on the data streaming across multiple holographic displays. The objects she'd been tracking for the past 3 months had finally crossed Mars' orbit, and their movement patterns removed any doubt about their nature. They were ships, massive ones. Dr. Chen, her assistant, Marcus Wong, called from across the room. The AI analysis is complete. These objects are maintaining perfect formation despite solar wind interference. There's a 99.9% chance they're artificial. Sarah nodded, her throat tight. After 15 years at the Pacific Rim Deep Space Observatory, she'd finally found what humanity had been searching for. But something about the data made her uneasy. "Send everything to General Rivera at Space Command," she ordered. "And Marcus, don't tell anyone else. Not yet." Within hours, Sarah found herself in a secured briefing room beneath the Pentagon. General Elena Rivera, a decorated veteran of the Mars colony's crisis, studied the holographic projection of the approaching fleet with sharp brown eyes. 17 vessels, Rivera noted, each one roughly the size of Manhattan. "And they're slowing down." "Yes," Sarah confirmed. "Their deceleration suggests they'll reach Earth orbit in approximately 72 hours. But General, there's something else." She manipulated the controls, highlighting energy signatures around the alien ships. "They're running hot. Way too hot for simple propulsion systems." Rivera's expression hardened. "Weapons? Has to be. The energy output matches what you'd expect from massive weapon systems on standby. But here's the weird part. They're trying to mask it. The emissions are being channeled through their drive systems to look like engine output." The general straightened, her military bearing becoming more pronounced. "So they're hiding their teeth while smiling at us. Classic predator behavior." Before Sarah could respond, a new hologram materialized. A transmission from the approaching fleet. A tall, elegant figure appeared, its silvery skin and multifaceted eyes marking it as definitely non-human. When it spoke, its words were flawlessly translated into English. "People of Earth, I am Ambassador Zextel of the Orcs Confederation. We come in peace, seeking diplomatic relations with your emerging civilization." Sarah and Rivera exchanged glances. The alien's tone was perfect. Warm, diplomatic, even slightly paternal. But Sarah had spent her career studying energy signatures, and the numbers didn't lie. "General," she whispered, "those weapon systems, they just powered up another 15%. Rivera nodded imperceptibly, then addressed the alien transmission. "Ambassador, we're honored by your contact. Earth welcomes peaceful dialogue." What followed was a masterclass in diplomatic deception. The Orcs ambassador spoke of cultural exchange, technological sharing, and guiding humanity into a broader galactic community. But as the conversation continued, Sarah noticed more discrepancies. The transmission origin point doesn't match their flagship's position. She murmured to Rivera. "They're broadcasting from one of their smaller vessels while their main weapons platforms maneuver into optimal firing positions." Rivera maintained her diplomatic smile while discreetly activating a secure comm channel to Global Defense Command. "How long until Project Aegis is ready?" The response came back instantly. "Final testing complete in 60 hours, General. We need it in 48. Sarah watched the energy signatures climbing higher on her displays. The aliens thought they were being clever, using their diplomatic mission as cover while they positioned themselves for a surprise attack. They assumed humanity was young, naive, and defenseless. They were wrong on all counts. "Ambassador," Rivera said smoothly, "we would be honored to host a diplomatic delegation. Perhaps we could arrange a formal reception in 2 Earth days." The alien's multifaceted eyes gleamed. "We would be delighted, General." After the transmission ended, Rivera turned to Sarah. "Doctor, I need you to coordinate with our quantum physics team at Area 51. We've been keeping some secrets of our own." "What kind of secrets?" Rivera's smile was razor-sharp. "The kind that will make our visitors regret thinking we were easy prey. You see, 10 years ago, we shot down one of their scout ships over the Pacific. They thought it burned up in the atmosphere. Instead, we've spent a decade learning everything we could about their technology. Sarah felt a fierce grin spreading across her face. The Orcs thought they were springing a trap on humanity. Instead, they were walking right into one. 2 days, Rivera said. That's how long we need to maintain this diplomatic charade. Can you help us feed them false data about Earth's defensive capabilities? Sarah was already pulling up technical specifications on her tablet. Better than that, General. I can make them think we're completely helpless. When they attack, they'll be in for one hell of a surprise. Rivera finished. Get to work, Doctor. Humanity's future depends on making these next 48 hours count. As Sarah left the Pentagon, she looked up at the night sky. Somewhere up there, the Orcs fleet was preparing to guide humanity into their version of galactic civilization. But humanity had spent centuries preparing for this moment, even before they knew it was coming. The Orcs were about to learn a harsh lesson about underestimating Earth's children. And Sarah Chen would help teach it to them. The Aegis complex stretched 3 kilometers beneath the Nevada desert, its existence unknown to all but a handful of the world's highest-ranking officials. Dr. James Rodriguez walked through its pristine white corridors, his footsteps echoing against metal and composite materials that didn't officially exist. Time check, he announced to the assembled team in the central control room. 39 hours until projected enemy engagement. Dr. Yuki Tanaka responded, her fingers dancing across quantum-enabled interfaces. The Orcs fleet has maintained their position just beyond lunar orbit, still playing their diplomatic game. James studied the massive holographic display dominating the room's center. 10 years of work, hundreds of billions in secret funding, and humanity's most brilliant minds had led to this moment. The crashed Orcs scout ship had been a gift, one they'd made full use of. Status of the shield grid, he asked. All 217 nodes are online, reported Colonel Weichen, the military liaison. Quantum entanglement networks are stable. If their weapons are anything like what we salvaged from the scout ship, they're in for a nasty surprise. The shield wasn't just a barrier. It was humanity's greatest technological achievement, based on reversed engineered Orcs tech, but evolved far beyond its origins. The planetary defense system used quantum fields to redirect energy weapons back at their source. Dr. Rodriguez, a young technician, approached, holding a tablet. We're detecting unusual patterns in the Orcs fleet's communications. They're using more bandwidth than diplomatic exchanges would require. James took the tablet, his expression grim. They're coordinating their attack plan. Send this to General Rivera immediately. A new voice cut through the control room's tension. Already received it. James turned to see Sarah Chen striding in, accompanied by General Rivera herself. The scientist and the military commander had dark circles under their eyes. Neither had slept since first contact. Dr. Rodriguez, Rivera nodded. Show us what humanity's best and brightest have been up to this past decade. James led them to a secondary control room, its walls covered in technical schematics. The Orcs think they're dealing with a pre-spaceflight civilization that barely understands quantum mechanics. In reality, their crashed scout ship taught us more than they could imagine. He gestured to a complex diagram. Their energy weapons operate on principles we theorized but never achieved, until we studied their technology. But we didn't just copy it. We found ways to improve it. How much did we improve it? Sarah asked, her eyes scanning the technical readouts. James allowed himself a small smile. Remember how their scout ship's weapons overloaded when we shot it down? We figured out why. Their quantum cascade technology is efficient but rigid. They'd never considered that someone might modify the underlying field equations. Rivera's eyes narrowed. In English, Doctor. We can turn their own weapon energy against them, James explained. The shield doesn't just block their attacks, it redirects them. The more power they pour into their weapons, the harder they'll hit themselves. Sarah moved to one of the quantum interfaces, her expression thoughtful. The energy signatures I detected from their fleet. They're planning to hit us with everything they have. Exactly, James confirmed. They want to overwhelm what they assume are primitive planetary defenses. Instead, they'll be fighting themselves. A warning klaxon suddenly blared through the complex. Yuki's voice came over the intercom. Multiple objects detected launching from the Orcs fleet. They're sending automated probes toward the atmosphere. Right on schedule, Rivera said calmly. They're testing our defenses before the main attack. Dr. Rodriguez, show them what happens when they poke the sleeping giant. James moved to the main control console, his movements precise. Activating shield grid nodes 7 through 15. Minimal power, just enough to swat their probes without revealing our full capabilities. On the massive displays, they watched as the Orcs probes entered Earth's upper atmosphere. The shield grid activated with surgical precision, invisible quantum fields reaching out to greet the alien devices. The probes didn't explode or crash. They simply ceased to exist, their matter converted to energy and harmlessly dispersed by the shield's quantum matrices. In the Aegis Complex's control room, satisfaction showed on every face. Send the diplomatic response I prepared. Rivera ordered her communications officer. Express our grave concern about the tragic malfunction of their automated survey devices. Offer our sincere condolences. Sarah couldn't help but laugh. They still think we don't know what they're planning. Better than that, James said, pulling up new data streams. The probe's destruction is feeding false information back to their fleet. As far as they can tell, their devices simply failed due to atmospheric interference. They have no idea what they're really facing. Rivera studied the tactical displays, where the Orcs fleet continued its pretense of peaceful positioning. 28 hours until they launch their main attack. Dr. Rodriguez, is your team ready for the real test? James looked around the control room, meeting the determined eyes of scientists and soldiers who had spent years preparing for this moment. Humanity had hidden its strength, learned from its enemies, and prepared in secret. Now it was time to show the galaxy why Earth should never be underestimated. We're ready, General, he said. Let them come. The Orcs think they're springing a trap, but they're about to learn what happens when you threaten humanity's homeworld. In orbit, the alien fleet continued its careful maneuvering, oblivious to the web of quantum technology waiting to turn their own power against them. The true test of Project Aegis was about to begin. Commander Maya Santos watched from the bridge of the UES Nighthawk as the Orcs fleet began their attack. The stealth vessel, hidden in the shadow of Earth's moon, was humanity's ace in the hole, one of 30 ships built in secret using hybrid technology. All stations report ready, her XO, Lieutenant Commander David Park, announced. The enemy fleet has broken formation. They're moving into attack positions. Maya nodded, her dark eyes fixed on the tactical display. The Orcs had abandoned their diplomatic pretense, their massive ships spreading out to surround Earth. Their energy weapons powered up, creating a light show visible even from lunar orbit. Right into our trap, she murmured. Patch me through to all ships. When she spoke again, her voice carried to every hidden vessel in the Nighthawk fleet. This is Commander Santos. For 10 years, we've trained for this moment. The enemy thinks they're about to conquer a helpless world. Let's show them how wrong they are. The Orcs attack began with a simultaneous discharge from all 17 capital ships. Energy beams capable of vaporizing cities lanced toward Earth's atmosphere. On the Nighthawk's displays, Maya watched as Project Aegis activated. The shield grid shimmed into existence, invisible to normal sensors, but blazing like a star to their quantum-enhanced systems. The Orcs weapons struck the defensive field, and something beautiful happened. Energy redirection successful, Park reported, excitement bleeding through his professional tone. Their attacks are being reflected back at 173% power, multiple impacts on enemy vessels. The Orcs fleet reeled as their own weapon energy, amplified by Earth's defensive grid, slammed back into them. 3 smaller ships lost power immediately, their hulls breached by their own weapons. Now, Maya ordered, execute Operation Thunderbolt. The Nighthawk fleet emerged from hiding, their hybrid drives allowing them to appear seemingly out of nowhere behind the confused alien vessels. Earth ships were smaller than their Arxer counterparts, but they carried weapons that combined human innovation with alien technology. Target their command and control nodes, Maya commanded. Don't let them coordinate their response. The first volley from the human fleet struck with devastating precision. Quantum-tipped missiles phased through Arxer shields, their warheads designed specifically to disrupt alien power systems. The enemy's response was chaos, exactly as planned. Commander, Park's voice cut through the battle chatter. The Arxer flagship is charging some kind of super weapon. Energy readings are off the charts. Maya studied the tactical data. The alien vessel was reconfiguring itself, panels shifting to reveal a weapon that dwarfed anything they'd seen before. They're desperate. Good. Signal the Aegis complex. Execute Protocol Omega. On Earth, deep beneath the Nevada desert, Dr. Rodriguez and his team initiated their final surprise. The shield grid didn't just protect Earth, it could project quantum fields outward. As the Arxer superweapon prepared to fire, invisible tendrils of quantum energy reached into space. The alien flagship's weapon detonated prematurely, its energy containment systems corrupted by human quantum interference. The massive ship broke apart, secondary explosions cascading through its hull. Multiple enemy vessels attempting emergency FTL jumps, Park reported. Their retreat vectors are scattered. No coordination. Maya allowed herself a fierce smile. Not so fast. Signal all ships. Execute pursuit protocol. We're not letting them report back to their superiors just yet. The Nighthawk fleet moved with practiced precision, their hybrid drives allowing them to match the Arxer retreat vectors. Quantum disruptors reached out, preventing the alien ships from achieving faster-than-light travel. This is Commander Santos to all enemy vessels. Maya broadcast on all frequencies. Your attack has failed. Your flagship is destroyed. Surrender now, or we'll demonstrate more of humanity's hospitality. The response came in the form of desperate energy weapon fire, which the shield grid promptly reflected back at the attackers. 2 more Arxer ships succumbed to their own weapons. Commander, Park called out, we're receiving a signal from the remaining enemy vessels. They're requesting terms of surrender. Maya nodded slowly. Put me through to General Rivera. Tell her Phase 1 is complete. The Arxer fleet is neutralized. As she watched the enemy ships power down their weapons, Maya thought about how the aliens had approached Earth, confident in their technological superiority. They'd never considered that humanity might have spent years preparing for this moment, learning from their own technology and improving upon it. Lieutenant Park, she said, make sure our quantum recorders got everything. The galaxy should see what happens when you underestimate humanity. The battle for Earth was over, but Maya knew this was just the beginning. The Arxer Confederation would learn of their fleet's defeat, and humanity's existence could no longer be ignored by the galactic community. But that was exactly what they planned for. Earth had just announced its presence to the galaxy, not as a primitive civilization to be conquered, but as a force to be reckoned with. Admiral Sarah Chen, promoted in the aftermath of Earth's first victory, stood before the United Earth Defense Council, her expression grave. The holographic displays behind her showed the approaching Arxer reinforcements. 500 ships, dwarfing their first attack fleet. They're not here for diplomacy this time, she stated. The Confederation has committed 1/3 of their total military strength to this operation. They want to make an example of us. General Rivera, now Supreme Commander of Earth's Defense Forces, studied the tactical projections. How long until they arrive? 72 hours. Our quantum sensors detected them as soon as they entered the Kuiper Belt. But this force, Sarah paused, choosing her words carefully. The shield grid won't be enough. Not against this many ships. Then it's time for Project Darkstar, Dr. Rodriguez announced from his position at the council table. The quantum physicist had aged years in the past few weeks, but his eyes burned with determined intensity. The council chamber erupted in murmurs. Darkstar was theoretical, dangerous, potentially catastrophic if it failed, but they were out of options. "Explain it to those who haven't been briefed," Rivera ordered. Rodriguez stood, activating a complex holographic model. The Arxer's FTL technology operates on quantum principles we've barely begun to understand. But during the first battle, we gathered crucial data about their drive signatures. We believe we can create a quantum resonance cascade that will disable their faster-than-light capabilities across the entire solar system, and trap them here with us, Sarah added. But the risks are enormous, Rodriguez finished. We'll be manipulating quantum fields on a scale never before attempted. If we miscalculate, we could tear a hole in space-time itself. The council chamber fell silent. The choice before them was stark. Risk everything on an experimental weapon, or face overwhelming alien forces with conventional defenses. How many ships would we need? Rivera asked. All of them, Rodriguez replied. The entire Nighthawk fleet, positioned at precise coordinates throughout the solar system. Each vessel will act as a quantum resonance node, creating a web that will amplify the effect. Sarah stepped forward. I'll lead the operation personally. The Nighthawk captains trust me, and we'll need perfect coordination. The next 48 hours were a blur of preparation. The Nighthawk fleet, now expanded to 50 vessels, moved into position around the solar system. Each ship carried experimental quantum resonance generators, their power systems pushed to the absolute limit. Sarah stood on the bridge of the UES Prometheus, Earth's newest and most advanced vessel. The ship hummed with barely contained energy as the quantum generators spooled up. All ships report ready, Admiral. Commander Santos reported from her position as fleet coordinator. Quantum synchronization at 99.7% and holding. Sarah took a deep breath. The Arxer fleet had crossed Neptune's orbit, their massive armada filling the tactical displays with angry red icons. Begin final countdown. Remind all ships. If the resonance cascade begins to destabilize, they're to execute emergency jumps immediately. We can't lose the entire fleet if this fails. The minutes ticked by with excruciating slowness. On Earth, Dr. Rodriguez and his team monitored the quantum fields, ready to abort if the readings showed signs of catastrophic failure. Enemy fleet entering final attack range, Santos announced. They're preparing to jump to near-Earth orbit. Sarah squared her shoulders. Everything hinged on timing this perfectly. All ships power quantum generators to maximum. Synchronize on my mark. The Arxer fleet's FTL drives engage, 500 ships preparing to tear holes in reality. At that exact moment, Sarah gave the command. Execute Darkstar. Now. 50 human ships activated their quantum resonance generators simultaneously. The fabric of space itself seemed to shudder as overlapping fields of quantum energy created a cascading wave of disruption. The effect was immediate and spectacular. As the Arxer ships attempted their jumps, they slammed into an invisible wall of corrupted space-time. FTL fields collapsed, drives overloaded, and the entire alien fleet was suddenly stranded in normal space. Quantum resonance cascade stable, Santos reported. The trap is holding. Enemy fleet is contained within the solar system. Sarah allowed herself a moment of fierce pride before issuing her next order. Signal Earth Defense Command. Tell them Phase 1 of Operation Darkstar is complete. The enemy is locked in our killing ground. But even as her crew celebrated their success, Sarah knew the hardest part was still to come. They'd trapped one of the galaxy's most powerful fleets inside Earth's solar system. Now they had to destroy it, or Earth would face the consequences of their audacious gambit. The real battle was about to begin, and humanity would need every trick, every innovation, and every ounce of courage they possessed to survive what came next. The solar system had become a graveyard of alien warships. After 3 days of continuous battle, The remnants of the once mighty Orcs fleet drifted in the void, their quantum drives permanently disabled by Operation Darkstar. Admiral Sarah Chen watched from the Prometheus's bridge as another Orcs dreadnought succumbed to the combined fire of 3 Nighthawk vessels. The human ships danced through space with impossible grace, their hybrid technology allowing maneuvers that the larger alien vessels couldn't match. "Status report," she ordered, her voice hoarse from days of issuing commands. Commander Santos consulted her quantum-enhanced displays. Enemy fleet reduced to approximately 120 operational vessels. Their formation is breaking down. We're detecting multiple power fluctuations across the remaining command ships. And our losses: 12 ships damaged, 7 critically. But the quantum resonance field is holding. They're still trapped in normal space. Sarah studied the tactical overview. The Orcs had fought with desperate fury once they realized they couldn't escape, but humanity's preparations had proven decisive. The shield grid protected Earth while the Nighthawk fleet struck from every angle, using the solar system itself as a weapon. "Admiral," her communications officer called out, "we're receiving a transmission from the Orcs flagship. It's different from their previous signals. Put it through." The holographic display materialized, showing not the familiar silver-skinned Orcs commander, but a different figure entirely. This alien's crystalline carapace marked it as something else, something older. "I am High Observer Vexthal of the Galactic Council," the figure announced. "I have been monitoring this conflict from within the Orcs command vessel. We have seen enough." Sarah straightened in her command chair. This was unexpected. "I am Admiral Chen of Earth's Defense Forces. Are you here to negotiate the Orcs' surrender?" "I am here to correct a mistake." The alien's multifaceted eyes shifted colors as it spoke. The Orcs were tasked with evaluating emerging civilizations. They became overzealous in their methods. Your species was to be assessed, not conquered. A test. Sarah's voice carried dangerous undertones. "You authorized an attack on our world as a test." "No." Vexthal's crystalline form shimmered. "We authorized observation." The Orcs exceeded their mandate, and in doing so, revealed something extraordinary. Your species took our technology and improved it in ways we thought impossible. You turned our own weapons against us and developed countermeasures we never imagined. In the background, Dr. Rodriguez's voice came through Sarah's private channel. "Admiral, we're detecting quantum signatures from beyond Pluto's orbit. Multiple ships incoming, but they're different from the Orcs designs." Sarah kept her eyes on the High Observer. "More ships approaching our system. Should we consider this another test?" "No." For the first time, the alien's voice carried something like respect. "They are here to witness. Humanity has proven itself not just capable of defending its world, but of advancing technology beyond what established species thought possible. The Galactic Council recognizes Earth's right to self-determination and offers membership among the stellar nations." A stunned silence fell over the Prometheus's bridge. Sarah exchanged glances with her command staff before responding. "And the Orcs fleet will withdraw once your quantum lock on their drives is released. They will trouble Earth no more. The Council guarantees this." Sarah allowed herself a small smile. "With respect, High Observer, Earth will keep its defensive capabilities. We've learned not to rely solely on guarantees." "As you should." Vexthal's carapace shifted to a deeper hue. "Your species' paranoia served you well. Few races prepare so thoroughly for threats they've never encountered. Fewer still advance technology so dramatically in secret. The galaxy will benefit from humanity's unique perspective." Over the next hours, the situation transformed. The approaching council ships revealed themselves, a delegation of various alien species, each more exotic than the last. The surviving Orcs vessels were escorted out of the solar system under heavy guard, their once proud commanders humbled by defeat. In the Aegis complex, Dr. Rodriguez and his team began analyzing the wealth of new data they'd gathered during the battle. The quantum resonance technology that had trapped the Orcs fleet promised to revolutionize humanity's understanding of spacetime itself. 1 week later, Sarah stood in the United Nations General Assembly as Earth's representatives signed the Treaty of Solar Recognition. Humanity would enter galactic society not as supplicants or victims, but as equals who had earned their place among the stars. The galaxy expected to find primitive inhabitants of a single world, she told the assembled delegates. Instead, they found humanity, innovative, determined, and unwilling to bow to any threat. We've proven that technology alone doesn't determine victory. It's how you use it, how you improve it, and most importantly, how you prepare for the day you'll need it. As she looked out over the assembly, Sarah saw not just Earth's leaders, but representatives from a dozen alien species. Some watched with obvious respect, others with barely concealed wariness. All of them, she knew, were reevaluating their assumptions about humanity. The Orcs had meant to conquer Earth. Instead, they had introduced humanity to the galaxy in the most dramatic way possible, by failing to conquer them. As Sarah left the podium, she couldn't help but smile at the irony. Earth's children had taken their first steps into a larger universe, and they had done it not by asking for permission, but by proving they deserved to be there. The stars would never seem quite so distant again.